Incremental readings. So in this video, we are going to cover why SuperMemo is slow to show its strength. It's super powerful, it's meant for the long term, but it's already the understanding the delayed impact. You have to commit time, you won't see any result. And not next week, not next month even. You have to wait a lot. So let's see why this happens. So the initial perception is why cannot see any difference between SuperMemo and any other flasher system until a week has passed? Odd if true. A week or a month or more, I will stretch it. So spaced repetition takes time. SuperMemo uses spaced repetition, yes, as many other software now, but has something else called incremental reading, a superset of that. But what happens is that intervals increase over time, gradually over time. That means that in order to see, I need to wait. I need to wait until it becomes to review, then next week, some months, so until I don't have these organic waiting several times, I won't be able to notice that, hey, in fact, I'm remembering all of those facts most of the time. So what happens is that the early repetitions within a week or very short term have minimal difference with traditional methods. Is what you will do. Cram. And next day, the same, right? So the difference is in the long term. That's why you need to wait until the long term. It's as simple as that. So long-term retention benefits grow exponentially over time. Then, comparing SuperMemo to traditional learning. First week, intervals are short, so retention appears similar to traditional book reading. Exactly, there's not much difference. About this aspect, there's a lot of difference about the workflow, massively different, but only about this thing in particular. Then, after a month, book readers forget large portions of materials. Exactly, it's just enough that you are just a victim of forgetting if you don't reread. SuperMemo users stabilize around their programmed retention levels because you can change it. By default, it's 95%. Here's when you will see start to see a difference. Spaced repetition versus non-spaced repetition user. Comparing SuperMemo to other flasher systems. Now it's okay. You use the spaced repetition, but not with SuperMemo. Methods like priority or linear systems approximate spaced repetition. Yeah, it's something that were like precursors. So this led to spaced repetition later on. And the SuperMemo advantage is that the difference in retention becomes evident after long periods. You could say, oh yeah, same as Anki, at some degree. Later on, we will see that priorities and all of that makes a difference in the long term. But the long term, now I mean years, not months. So patience required for SuperMemo. Early return of investment. Return of investment is minimal. It will be the opposite. The more you wait, the more you will gain. It's in the long term. Using SuperMemo may initially feel more time-consuming than traditional learning. That's in fact. The first day and the second day, you'll have the sensation that you put more effort and you get less outcome. And it will be true. But it's just an acute effect of some days, and that's it. Then it will be the opposite. And the more to the future you go, the more obvious it gets. Then, complexity of SuperMemo. So why patience matters? Complexity of SuperMemo and techniques like incremental reading requires practice. Exactly. With this course, you say how to do this, how to do that, or the philosophy, you should pay attention to that, or stuff like that I do my best, it's not enough. You still need to practice your own. But it will be a lot easier than if you do it on your own with no help, no course at all. But it's not a substitute. You still need your own practice. And then mastering knowledge, formulation, takes time, but pays off exponentially. Now with AI, you can get like a kickstart at the beginning when you're a noob. But even that, long term, it will become the bottleneck. The knowledge formulation will become the bottleneck. So your memory retention, your performance will be limited, capped, because of formulation of knowledge, which at the end of the day is a soft skill and takes practice. With years, you will get better. I have been doing this for 15 years and I still have margin to improve. Then, the long-term difference. As the time passes, SuperMemo delivers increasing returns of retention and efficiency. Why? Because you keep remembering the same stuff you wanted, but you spend less and less time. Because now I only see one review a year, the next interval is 4 years, then a decade, and I have multiple items, let's say a few thousand. If you convert this with the traditional learning, I will have to reread an entire article, So most of the time is at the beginning. Then it tends to zero. That the more to feature, to keep that on memory, I have to spend less time. Therefore, the efficiency increases because the time I spend to remember is lower. So, traditional methods and approximations lag far behind in retention rates. So, in the long term, traditional methods, you will spend more time, the learning will be of less quality, and it will be forgotten anyways. You lose in every aspect. Or with SuperMemo, with incremental reading, you win in every single aspect. And if you only use a spaced repetition, let's say in Anki, that's not the case. You win in retention, but you don't win in every single dimension because you only have the latest stage that is doing the flashcard and then keeping that on memory with spaced repetition. Everything else is not scheduled, it's not prioritized. That's why incremental reading is a subset. First, it's a subset of spaced repetition and is much better. Then, encouragement for new users. Advice. Give it a week before you give up. It's easy to say, right? That, this is really tedious. What is this crap of software? I don't get it. And even if you put it modern, let's imagine some exercise, some thought exercise. Imagine you have SuperMemo, everything is modern, has been done from scratch. It's just a tool that implements incremental reading with everything new, all of the standards, intuitive layouts, UI, all of that. It will still be challenging because of the paradigm of incremental reading. So the software is not adding layers. What happens with SuperMemo is that it's adding a lot of layers. That, it's tougher to understand because the menus doesn't make sense, or it's kind of intuitive, stuff like that. Even that, you will still need time. That I don't get it. I have a software, it looks fancy, it's intuitive, the layout, but still the concept of incremental reading, I don't get it until a week or more. So recognize that the fruits of wisdom takes time to ripen. Exactly. It's an analogy. So you have to believe, at the end of the day, it's like that. You have to believe, to trust, this works. Perhaps it's not the best, or the best known, you don't know, but at least you know that this, at the end of the day, works. It's just that it takes a lot of time. Takeaway. Patience and constant use are key to realizing the full power of SuperMemo. Or should I say incremental reading. I have used it for 40 years. For 40 hours. 40 hours of genuine use. I think that was in 3 weeks, something like that. It's, wow, now I see the power of SuperMemo. No, not all of it, but good enough that I didn't want to actually use SuperMemo. I only want to experiment, to practice English, and do some experiment as an Anki user. I never had in mind to actually use SuperMemo for real after that. But it was so powerful that, even if it's Windows only, it's proprietary, it's very crappy, the interface is way too powerful. I don't care. 40 hours. Then after a year and a half, when I improved the priorities, all of that is, wow. Now I can appreciate more the power of SuperMemo. And now that I'm close to 5 years, is, oh my God. There's nothing better. That's why, for the long term, it's the best you can do. Incremental reading is the best. For now. So closing thought. The more time passes, the greater the difference between traditional learning and SuperMemo. Exactly. I reach a point, I have used SuperMemo and Anki before, so you have to take this into mind, that I had 11 years of spaced repetition ahead when I started SuperMemo. that I reach a point on my age, I'm 37, as old as SuperMemo. I reach a point that if I have used traditional methods of learning, it will be impossible to retain everything I have in memory now. Everything that is retrievable, I can recall and apply that knowledge. It's a dimension that is already impossible with traditional methods. Because I have used it systematically so often for so long that the amount of forgetting that I prevented, I will have to reread so much content with traditional methods that there will be no material time during the day to keep that with inefficient methods. It's that. And now imagine 3 decades like Piotr Wozniak, or closer to 4 decades like Piotr Wozniak, the creator. You become a genius version of yourself with the maximum knowledge. That doesn't mean you have to, by the way. It's just, if you only spend, once you master it and all of that, even if you only spend 10 minutes, 20 minutes, that in your life is not a focus to be an incremental reader, even though you will get a genius version of yourself. It's not that you have to commit that, hey, it's my daily job, it's the only thing I can do, da, 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 da. And this is for whatever. Can be for creativity, to play music, as a writer, can be more creative domains, as a software developer, anything. Is the best method available. So it's slow to show its strength, that's the pity, but the strength you get is the highest possible. So take it away. SuperMemo rewards those who persevere, turning initial efforts into lifelong learning advantages. So with my course, I will try, one of my attempts is to try so you don't give up, you stay on track until you see the power, at least the iceberg that, hey, I know it's not the full picture, but even that's a big thing already. And you stay. And you put more effort without seeing the results yet. Because this takes some kind of commitment that depends on your personality. Happens to be that I had to simplify, not the best personality, but the most required personality, the most convenient personality for SuperMemo. Happens to be that I am a very good fit. Doesn't mean it's better, it's just that it's more convenient for incremental reading, that's it. That's why for other personalities that have more friction will be more prone to give up before seeing the results, because it's slow to show its strength. That's my effort. First you have to believe me, that's not a thing. And with this course, I will try that you will see it yourself, because it's just a matter of time. You will have anecdotal evidence, and it will be growing on you. That's, oh shit, this thing, it's powerful. Incremental reading is powerful. And that is irrelevant. If in the future there's another tool, not SuperMemo, it's incremental reading at the end of the day. What's important, not the software. That's all for now. See you incrementally.